Okay. And I'm speaking to?
Marianne Williamson.
And Miss Williamson, welcome to Reno, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, Sparks proper.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I want to ask tonight, what brought you here to Northern Nevada?
Well, as you know, I'm running for president.
Right.
And as you know, Nevada's a caucus state. So that's what you do in a presidential campaign. You talk to voters.
Right. And what have the voters here been saying to you? Or at least what have you been gleaning from them?
Well, you were here tonight.
Right.
I think Americans are deeply concerned about the state of our country.
Right.
And today particularly, we had our 30th school shooting this year. Last I heard, 2 children had died.
Right.
Americans are good people. We're decent people.
Right.
We know that this is not the way it's supposed to be. And I think that people are grateful that there is the opportunity to go deeper and have a deeper conversation, not just about something, but about cause. I felt that in the room tonight.
And talking about, people's good intentions, and I believe that was something you talked about greatly in the speech tonight, in your Q&A, about, our fellow Americans, being people of good nature, and that it's not the situation we're in, as you talked about, demands change. When you talk about change, what do you mean by that?
Our public policy is too often heartless. Our public policy is soulless. Our public policy does more through tax policies, subsidies, and so forth. It does more to advocate for short-term profits for huge multinational corporate entities than it does to advocate for the people of the United States and the planet on which we live. That's a breach. That is a deviation from democratic principle. It is a deviation from our deeper humanity. That's what I mean. We have to close that gap between the goodness and the decency of the American people and the soulless way that too often our public policy is written and expressed.
And I kind of want to harken back to something you said about, you mentioned something about sociopathic practices. Because that stood out to me in your speech, because it's not very often in policy speeches, we involve psychology in psychological analysis. Why that word? Why does, I guess, from your standpoint, does public policy in America have that perspective or that action or at least behavior?
Starting in the 1980s. Starting in 1980, this idea of trickle-down economics, it's a virulent strain of capitalism. I don't believe this is inherent to capitalism. I'm for capitalism with a conscience. But it is a virulent strain of capitalism. That is the idea that a corporation only has fiduciary responsibility to its stockholders, even if that is at the expense of the well-being of the worker or the community or the environment. So it is a sociopathic economic system in that it is capitalism unfettered by any ethical or moral consideration. And when you don't have government holding the line through regulation, financial or safety or health, but instead, because of the corporate money in the system, have government only basically hand-laden to those economic forces, you have a serious problem on your hands, and we do.
Yeah, fair enough to hit on that. In regard to, campaigning, I'm going to swing this back to, why we're sitting here in the yoga studio and talking, to people here. Why in this atmosphere do you choose to do campaign events in these settings?
Well, this is not the only place I speak. I speak where people are gathered. But I think you could feel it here tonight. It's a more reflective space. And we need to have a more reflective politics. The conventional political conversation is too superficial. It doesn't go deep. It doesn't get to the heart of the matter. It's too narrow a container for the the kind of thinking we need to be doing now in order to transform our country. In a place like this, dropping down into your heart, finding your deeper wisdom, it feels more natural here. And so it's a good place to have a new kind of political conversation.
And that brings up another point, I guess. Again, we're in a yoga studio. We're talking about, a different, we're talking about things differently than I'm used to in most political events and arenas. And I have to ask, why this method of campaigning? Why do you choose to campaign this way?
Well, this is who I am. It's not how I choose to campaign. It's who I am. This is why I'm running. I'm running because over a 35-year career, I've become very aware that you can't solve the problems only on the level of externals. You have to deal with deeper causes. You have to deal with the deeper psychological and emotional elements that prevail in a situation if you really want to change that situation. So that's what I'm doing here. I didn't come here. I didn't run for president in order to become someone different. I'm running for president in order to bring into this space the processes and the ideas and the insights that my career has given me.
Fair. I'm going to kind of bring it back home to Reno, my locality, home. If I'm an interested voter here in Nevada, why should I vote for you?
You should vote for me if your heart says vote for me. I am presenting an option of a different way for America to travel going forward. And I respect democracy. How could I be trying to empower people if I was trying to disempower them by trying to sell them something? That's not what I'm doing here. I'm saying this is my vision. If that aligns with yours, then it would make sense to vote for me. But I think something very profound is going on here. It's called democracy. People will listen to the candidates, and all I'm asking is to be heard, and I feel heard here. And then people should listen to the dictates of their own conscience and vote for the person that they feel can best lead this country into an amazing future. And if that's me, I'm honored.
Fair. And concurrently from that, the debates are coming up here pretty soon, and at this moment that you're not going to stage, at least on the line for that, does that change anything for you at this point?
Sure it does. If you're on the debate stage, a lot more eyeballs see you. A lot more people hear you. So, of course, it's a disappointment. But at the same time, the debates are a reality TV show. It doesn't mean you're not in the race just because you're not in the debates. It makes it harder, definitely. But on nights like tonight, I go, why would I be anywhere else? Michael Bloomberg's in now. Deval Patrick's in now. They're not on the debate stage.
Right. Fair statement. So, it sounds like it's not going to, it's just, as I say, another day in the race.
You mean this issue of the debate stage?
Well, yes.
Disappointing, but not a, what is the word I want?
Not a game changer? Or
well, I was going to say game changer, more like not a game closer. You know what I mean? It's not. My heart says to be here.
Right. And hence why you're here. So we've talked about, why we should vote for you. We talked about, the state of the race. How do you, I guess the overall question, and I've had a chance to talk to, many people in your team, but, how do you plan to win this thing, from where we stand right now?
I can only control what I can control. I can only do my best to speak as authentically as possible the vision of America that I have. My need in order to get my message out, of course, is for more money. I hope people will donate more so that I can get it out there. If I don't have more money and I can't get it out there, then it's reasonable to assume that I could not win. But sometimes the win is in There are many kinds of wins. And Donald Trump is president, so obviously anything can happen.
Right. Fair. I'll give you that. I'll concede that. I'll try to get this to 2 more questions because I know the nights you've been talking a long time tonight, so I appreciate you extending your stay with me a little longer tonight. So here we are in Nevada. We're on the 100-day mark for our caucus. Everyone's kind of putting their markers out of how they get to victory or where they're at, et cetera, et cetera. Where's the next place you're headed to after today?
I go to California tomorrow, and I'm speaking at the Democratic National Convention in California, and then I go back to Iowa.
So back to the Big Four. So I mean, this sounds like this never stops.
Never stops.
In closing, I guess I'll go ahead and give you the open stage here. Is there anything else I didn't ask you that you'd like the people in Northern Nevada and Reno to know about you, your campaign, what you believe in, the challenges you're working on, and issues you're working on to know about you?
Haters hate with great conviction today. Lovers need to love with conviction. We are a good and a decent people. We need to pour more of our decency and our dignity into our politics. We all know that our individual lives should be guided by love and conscience. So should our public policy. And if we want that, we need to make it happen.
Ms. Williamson, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I wish you safe journeys to California.
Thank you.
And I hope we get to see you soon here in Northern Nevada.
I hope so too. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
The cashews are fabulous. You sure you don't want to cashews?
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm going to pass. That ends my interview with Marianne Williamson.